Okay, to talk about today. I guess something on my mind has been thinking about music. I'm really um, a big fan of music. Who isn't? But I have a very diverse interest in music, and a lot of sort of small niche artists in weird genres, and I was so excited gathering or listening to music and thinking about, oh, that could work really well with this story or in this scenario. And so I was making a playlist on Spotify of the different songs that I thought could be really interesting to convey a certain emotion. And then I came to realize the state of music in the world at the moment, as I knew it already was. Actually, I've mentioned this before. It might have been in the video where the sound cut out. But yeah, music, the state of music in the world is so very sick at the moment. And I sort of see it as artists aren't getting paid. You can't survive as a musician, really. And then people can't get very good access to the music either. Obviously everyone can get stuff through Spotify, but I really want to tell this story at some point. It's something that's really changed the way that I see how music works. So there's the song Bittersweet Symphony. Maybe this wasn't on the one that cut out, I don't know. Maybe I already talked about this before, but there's a song Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve. Such an incredibly moving song. I think I was too young to really experience that song. I might not have even been alive. Don't remember when it came out, but I was very young, I think, and so I don't really know what it was like to be a sort of person of my age at that time, yet listening to that song kind of takes me there, and it's so universal, that feeling, and they really captured the essence of that time, and it's just truly incredible. And then it's so tragic to me that they then were, they stole music from someone else, and so they lost all rights to their music. And then you find out who that was, and it was the former manager of the Rolling Stones, who in a way he took his song, he made a sort of cover of a Rolling Stones song, and it's the kind of song that's no one's hearing because it was on this sort of weird compilation. So back in the 60s with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, they would sort of make these albums where classical musicians would do covers of pop songs, and you can find tons of these sorts of vinyls out there, and no one's really listening to them. Nobody cares. And so it was one of those albums, this very obscure song no one is hearing, and they took that and turned it into this incredible, The Verve took this and turned it into this incredibly moving song that was so pertinent for the time. And yet the person who wrote that receives all the credit. It's so backwards to me. And then to think that guy, I think he had some I don't know, the business dealings with the Rolling Stones, they ended up having all sorts of lawsuits with him because he was a bit of a shady character, I think. And anyway, he took the song from the Rolling Stones, and then the incredible thing is that the Rolling Stones then, they took the song without any permission from a gospel choir group. And so it's just been stolen and stolen and stolen. And then the gospel choir group, I don't believe they stole it, but before that it was like a folk song, like a church choir song, a campfire song. And so before then it was a part of the commons, it was everybody's song. And at some point someone got to say that it's theirs, and now nobody else is allowed to use it, which is so horrible. And so the way the world works, it's like property. It's madness that at some point someone was like, this land here is mine, and I now own that, and nobody else is allowed to have it. And it's like, just because they were the first person to say that it was theirs, now, you know, it's like finders keepers. And is that the way music works as well? And so yeah, it's so disappointing, because I think of how incredible it would be if all art could be shared and remixed and remade and reused and mixed together in all of these interesting ways, and all these new forms of media could come out of it. And it's so unfortunate that there's like this clamping down. And I do understand to a degree that like people are putting effort and hard work into these things and they want to be compensated, but it's so antithetical to the way that creativity works. Like, any true artist will tell you that it's like they didn't even do it, they just showed up and it came through them. Like, yeah, sure, they might have put in the like hard work of practicing their craft until they were able to just let go completely and the flow take over. That's fair enough. That is hard won. But the creative output is, no one should own that. And I think that's a very controversial take, but I see that being the future, that everyone's creating, and so no one has a, this is mine, no one's allowed to have it, sort of thing. I don't know. And it just reminded me of something else which I have said before here, but also I think the sound was off. I'm wanting to like build things myself. I'm wanting to make things. Like, I'm looking at this light stand over here and there's like a plastic bracket on it, and if that breaks, then I just have to throw that in the trash. And that's the way so many things work. When you buy something off the internet, if it breaks, there's essentially nothing you can do about it but throw it in the trash. And it's so unfortunate, it's so wasteful, it's so disempowering. Like, everyone should be able to fix and repair everything, and that should be a value that is cultivated, and that's what, it's a value I want to cultivate. Like, an idea I had was like, how incredible would it be if businesses, companies, whoever's creating a product, uploaded online the 3D models that people could download, and then take the model of that plastic bracket, 3D print it and replace it, and there you go. You don't need to throw it in the bin anymore. And if you don't have a 3D printer, the future could have 3D print shops, and you go down there and get them to print the part for you and you replace it. And then there could be a whole culture built around that, where the company releases a product and then people who are using it, you have a what do you call it? I guess like it's like an online community builds around certain things, and this already happens with softwares. And if it's open source, people will contribute to problems, they'll fix problems, and they'll add new features. People who are interested enough will put in their own time and effort to improve this thing. And imagine that could be the case with, just talking about this light stand for the moment. Like, okay, there's something about this that doesn't quite work right, but there's thousands of people who have the same light stand, and someone goes and fixes the problem, uploads the solution to the internet, then anyone else can go and fix it in the same way. They can 3D print the parts needed, or they can purchase the bolt needed to replace this whatever, right? And like, that's so exciting to me, a world where everyone is empowered to, like, things aren't complete. That's the way that it is now. It's like, you build a house and it's like, house is done, that's it, it's complete, and no one's like in, like, a house should be always in a constant state of, it's still being created through its entire life. It shouldn't ever end. And it really closes people off from so much when they have this mentality that things are complete and nothing can be done about it, where a small shift in perspective, you can look at your environment in a different way, and it's like, wow, you know what, actually I don't like the way this thing is, or I see a better way of how this thing could be, and I'm going to do something about it. And yeah, I'm not an expert at this, so I want to cultivate it in myself, and through cultivating it in myself, it's like, what's the let's say the Dalai Lama, no, it's not, it's Gandhi. It's like, be the change you want to see in the world. So cultivate the things within yourself that you want to see cultivated within the world. Alright, that's it for today.